Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back to Mexico Relocation Guide. My name is Mariana. If you don't know who I am, you're new around here. The channel is here to help you move to Mexico the right way. We give you a lot of videos on different places to move to in Mexico. But then we also do live streams like these, where I bring on a guest that lives in a specific part of Mexico to give you an idea what living in that part of Mexico is truly like. And today I have my friend Jeff. Jeff and I have known each other for over 5 years now, man, maybe close to 5 years.
Yeah,
And
years.
yeah, about 5 years. And we keep each other always in touch with updates. He tells me all about life in
As you
Playa del
can see,
Carmen.
you can hear about this. Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps me up to date on all the things foreigners living in Playa del Carmen, which is awesome. And Jeff has had quite a journey. He's been living in Playa now for over 6 years. Now a citizen of Mexico. He first became a temporary resident, then permanent. Now he's a citizen of Mexico. And today's live stream is really just to give you like the good, the bad, and the ugly about Playa del Carmen. And I want to keep that light also because, you know, our goal at Mexico Relocation Guide is not only to show you what living in Mexico could be like, but to also give you realistic ins and outs of once the honeymoon stage is over and once you're actually living somewhere and you're living real life, especially somewhere very touristic like Playa del Carmen, what's it truly like? Just so that way is that somewhere that I would really want to explore more? And do I actually see myself living there and being happy? So Jeff, thank you so much for joining me. And
Always.
I don't know if you want to share anything else about yourself with the audience.
No, that really, I love living here. I started coming here in 2010, but my history goes all the way back to 1982. Um, it's just it's a phenomenal place to live, and if you really embrace the culture and you assimilate, it's even more enjoyable to live here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that you're a huge advocate and ambassador and a great one for Playa del Carmen. So let's get right into it. By the way, you guys, this is a Q&A for you. So start posting your questions. If you're curious about not only life in Playa del Carmen, but life in Mexico in general, start posting your questions and we'll take them here in a minute. So Jeff, just real quick, like now that you've been living in Playa del Carmen permanently for, over 6 years, if you could look back and say, when you first started coming as a tourist
Mhm.
versus living here now full time, what are some things that you would do differently now that the honeymoon stage is over, and like maybe some advice you can give people on how things have changed for you over those couple of years?
Well, I used to be this really, really shy person. I did not like, public speaking and
Really?
really,
Okay.
and I was more of a technical person. I worked as a landscaper for 40 some years, and uh, but coming here, I don't know, it just opens you up to new possibilities. When I first got here, I said, I don't know if I can do this because it is such a big change coming from the United States. The pace is slower. You still have the same obligations here that you have back home, but you just do them so much differently here. Now, I've spoken Spanish my entire life. And through work, I've had a lot of Latino friends over the years. But with all of that background, I was still a little lost when I first got here because no one ever teaches you about when you go to a bank, what do you say?
Sure.
When you go shopping, the labels are all in Spanish. You have to figure all of this stuff out. And administratively, the procedures are so different. And you want to pull your hair out at first because they seem so complicated and there's so much paperwork involved, but when you break it down, it's really, really simple. And if you do a little bit of research and you know what you're getting into, you're not going to have a problem moving to a foreign country at all.
Yeah. But you've seen some of the people that have a really hard time, and maybe it's because you feel like they're overcomplicating it, or why do you see people have a hard time?
Well, a lot of people have a hard time because they really don't want to assimilate. And sorry, that's my parrot in the background. She likes to get involved. But you really need to assimilate. You need to get out of the expat bubble and participate. If you don't, okay, you feel isolated. If you speak the language and go out and speak to the locals and now learn to cook the Mexican way, uh, using Mexican products and things like that, you're going to have a much easier assimilation into society here.
Yeah, you're gonna live more of the life that you hear about and you read about, and
Oh,
benefits of like the
absolutely, because
community.
the
Yeah.
Riviera Maya is an incredible area to live in. I mean, we have the Caribbean here. We have 2,000 years of history in the jungle here. Cenotes. It's just an incredible, beautiful place. And if you know where to go and know how to look and how to enjoy it, you are never without anything to do. Anyone could possibly be bored here. I mean, I I take violin lessons. I was president of my HOA here, the only non-Mexican ever
Yeah. To be the president of their HOA.
be a president of an HOA and protect their interests. Maybe because I think differently, a little bit outside the box, but it's just having that confidence that you can go out, you can speak the language, and you can really be one on one with the local people. Here in my privada where I live, we are 62 homes. I am the only non-Mexican that lives here, but everyone comes to my house. They love to come here because I cook, they cook, and
Hmm.
we just have a great time together.
Yeah. Do you feel that because you live further away from the city, you live about 15 minutes away from the city, in kind of like the suburbs, right, of Playa del Carmen. So
Yes,
if
I
somebody's
mean
thinking like,
I've always been a suburbs kind of person, even when I lived in the New York, New Jersey area. So this area is perfect for me. It does require transportation, um, but again, this is the more local environment, and if you're really going to be part of the culture, this is where you really need to be. It's just
yeah,
so much fun.
it's more convenient for you. I mean, how far is your nearest grocery store, for example?
10 minutes drive
Mhm.
from here.
And
Um,
also, what you get is a lot more bang for your buck as far as the house that you're able to buy and the
Oh,
types of,
absolutely.
yeah.
On the west side of the highway here in Playa del Carmen, it's no secret that rents are cheaper. You can buy a home much cheap, brand new. There is so much construction going on now in Playa del Carmen. I would call it a construction boom. You can get in preventa
Hmm.
and pay almost nothing. Well, not nothing, but
A small
as a
down payment.
as a small down payment.
Yeah.
And there are some companies that do developer financing, and right, we have 6 new complexes going up around us right now. So it's going to get busy around here. When I first came in 2014, even the local taxi drivers didn't know where my privada was. I had to give them instructions to get here. Now we have our own OXXO. We have a small shopping mall. There are so many little fruterias and bodegas that have opened up. Um, I can just get on my phone, WhatsApp, and say, "Oh, I need cilantro. I need cebollas, jitomate," and just type it out. And within 20 minutes, the guy shows up on his moto and pay him in pesos, and I can finish dinner.
Yeah, a small delivery fee, and then you're able to continue finish cooking.
Yeah, you can't do that down in Centro. This is the local flair of
Yeah,
having that kind of service on the west side of the highway.
yeah. Certainly not to keep it affordable. I mean, maybe you could find those services in Centro, like for the grocery stores that deliver to your house, but probably it's going to be a higher delivery fee because Parking is
Right.
harder. I'm
Absolutely,
just
and there's gonna be a minimum, they're gonna
yeah,
say, "Well, you need to buy this amount to make it
yeah.
worthwhile for a guy to come out." But, I could buy a bag of ice and, manolo de cilantro, and no big deal. I mean, even sitting at the palapa by the pool sometimes, with my friends here, we call up and say, "Yeah, can you bring us a couple bag of chips and some sodas?" And they just show up, and we pay by card and have a great afternoon.
Now, for those of you wondering, his complex is so pretty. I mean, it's really well maintained. Your house is very pretty. It's a three
Thank
bedroom,
you.
right? And
Three
just
bedroom, two and a half bath.
yeah, very nice home. It's perfect for you, I feel. Very nice kitchen. And I know that you bought like years ago when the prices were probably half what they are now, but what would you say a house like that runs nowadays?
Um, well, let's go back to 2014. Okay, I bought for 1 million pesos. The
Hmm.
exchange rate back then was about 12, 12 pesos, 12.40. Now it's 18.50, more or less. But
Hmm.
comp sales in my privada are now 2.6 million pesos. And that's a pretty good
That's
return
a
on
huge jump.
investment.
Yeah, for
Not
10 years.
everyone gets that. It's
Sure.
location, location, location. You have to think long term here in Mexico, Playa, anywhere. Uh, like I said, when I first came here, there was nothing in the area, and everybody said, "Why would you want to live so close to the jungle and be so far out?" Well, here it is, 10 years later, and I'm not that far away, and now we have new roads opening up, and I could be at the grocery store in 10 minutes,
Sure. Yeah.
where it
And
used
you're
to
getting
take
all
me.
these services now arriving closer and closer to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 2.6 million pesos for anybody who's like trying to do the calculation in their head is around in today's exchange rate about 150,000.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I do
Now,
that math correct? Anybody can fact check me on the comments. Um, but I mean, that's a three bedroom, really nice three bedroom, two bath. Square footage is about, what would you say? Like,
it's about 1,000 square feet.
yeah.
Okay. This is about the size of my apartment in New Jersey before I left, and I was paying $1,400 a month for my apartment in New Jersey.
Hmm.
In this Privada, there are rentals that are going for around 24,000 pesos, I would say, which is maybe just a little over $1,000. But that includes, some of them actually include electricity and all of your water. It includes your utilities, internet, the HOA fees. So West Side is really not a place that you should discount if you want to move to Playa del Carmen. If you like downtown and being urban living, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you like more quiet, tranquilo, uh,
Yeah.
this is the side you really, really want to explore.
Yeah. You just ultimately get more house for your money.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you're not far from the city at all. But yeah, you definitely will need a car. But if you appreciate having a little yard or having green spaces in your community where you can take your dog for a walk, yourself for a walk, or just hang out by the pool and it's all part of your community without you having to get like a day pass at a hotel or something like that, then a private community like that might be more your speed.
If I
Um,
want to go to the beach, 20 minutes. And
yeah.
I have the entire coast to choose from
Yeah.
the beaches in Centro all the way down to Tulum if I wanted to, and they're very reasonable. Oh, all the beaches in Mexico are free, um, but there are beach clubs if you are so inclined. My favorite place is to drive down to Akumal, 30 minutes from here, and it's on the bay. It's nice and quiet. I actually even go down there for little staycations just for 2 or 3 days just to unwind because it's just so pretty and tranquil.
Yeah. It's not as busy as the beaches in Playa del Carmen, in other words.
No, not at all. I mean, you do have some resorts around you, but it's people, a lot of tourists who come just for the day. But Acapulco is not really on the map for many people.
Yeah,
Um, okay, Ishpuha is another location not on the map for people. Punta Venado, which is only 15 minutes away. I mean, most expats here have never even heard of some of these smaller beaches, but they're gorgeous and they're so
yeah,
quiet and tranquil.
definitely. Somebody is wondering, like, I know, and I know this has a lot of seasonality, but how do you deal with the sargassum levels? Like, are they pretty high this year? And can you tell us more about when people might expect them to be higher versus lower?
Well, Sargasso has become seasonal now. Um, we are out of the Sargasso season right now because basically the wind has shifted from the south and the east from the north. And we are in the most beautiful time of the year down here from basically November through April. It's not as hot. It's in the 80s during the day, and we get down to the 60s at night. I equate it to like summer in New York. Um, Much more. Um, hmm, let's say, if niceable was a word, yes, you could
Let's make it
use.
a word. Yeah.
But Sargasso came in early this year, at the end of April. There were some big storms that were out in the Caribbean, and it just pushed a lot of it in. But the municipalities, the resorts, and all of the towns, they do a tremendous job keeping the beaches
Cleaning.
clean.
Yeah.
Um, they not only use just manual labor. Now they have machines that they come and they comb the beaches, just like we have back in the United States. But it can get heavy. Um, but those are the times when we head to the cenotes. It's time to travel and go out and visit the ruins. And we have so many different attractions in
Yeah.
this area. So if you can't go to the beach, now you find a beach club that's got a pool, or you go to one of the thousand cenotes we have in the area. And it's just a wonderful experience to experience nature that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Now, I know a lot of people go to Isla Mujeres because, like, there's generally year-round less sargazo in Isla Mujeres. Has
Yeah,
that still kind of kept?
it's still that way. The currents just don't go up that way because Sargasso is not attached to anything; it floats. So it goes wherever Mother Nature wants it to go. But yes, Isla Mujeres is an option. Going out to Holbox is another option because that's up on the northern point of the peninsula. And if you've never been to a small island, these are great places to visit. There's a lot to do, and the beaches are pristine. Uh, I love Holbox. It's
Yeah, I know you're a big fan. Yeah.
and after all these years, believe it or not, I've never been to Isla Mujeres.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, doesn't surprise me though. I'm sure maybe there's even a lot of playenses that haven't been to Isla Mujeres either. But it's a good segue into talking like about some of the ways that people can integrate, and one of those is getting a driver's license locally, because with that driver's license you can get a lot of discounts on things like the ferry to Isla Mujeres and a variety of other things locally. What are some other discounts that people can get if they have a local driver's license?
Well, not so much with a local driver's license because they want you to be a resident. And to be Playens, you need to
Playense?
be yeah, you need to be a resident. Like I went to Cozumel yesterday, and we now have 3 ferry services that go over to Cozumel now. I went by taxi. I just showed my residency card and I paid $10 for a one-way trip over to Cozumel.
Got it.
Um, You
Well, they
can
don't
with
necessarily use like the driver's license
which one?
address.
I'm sorry.
They don't necessarily use like people's driver's licenses to show the discount or to be able to prove that they are living in the area. It's more residency card and the municipality where you process.
Yes, and even like the big parks here, Escaret, Grupo Escaret, with your residency card, you can get up to 50% off to visit the parks.
Yeah,
What
sorry.
they
My
do is they turn your card over and they look to see where your card was issued. So if you're Mexican and you come from, say, Querétaro or Jalisco, okay, you're only going to get 10% off. But if you show that you are Playens, you are from Quintana Roo, and Quintana Roo is a very big state, even Yucatan, you get the discounts. Some restaurants even offer discounts. What else do I get with my residency card? Oh, medical care. If I go to a hospital and
sure.
I show my residency card, there is a two-tier system here. There is one for tourists and there is one for residents. I do pay a lot less as a resident if I need hospital care.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, that's a very big one. And then on top of that, like things like your property taxes, if you do they ask you for your residency card or do they ask you just for your corp?
Um,
Like the
once
discount, I
you're
mean.
established in the municipality is and you have your clubbing, uh, everything is there. You get uh, up to 25% off on your real estate taxes, and it's a sliding scale. They start in January, and you start with 25%, then 20, then 15, and when the tax season ends by April 30th, you get no discount. But uh, and if someone is interested in what my taxes are here for a three-bedroom, 2.5 bath
Yeah,
house,
that's interesting.
I pay about $100 a year,
Yeah,
and
very low.
very low.
Yeah,
Most people can't believe that that's how much I pay.
that's very low. And your maintenance, your monthly maintenance dues?
Just went up this year. As you know, I was president for a while, and doing the numbers, I said, "Oh, we have to raise the fees a little bit." So I pay two fees here. One to our privada. One is 1,600 pesos, which is about $80. 85 dollars, and then our master HOA, which is another 1,000 pesos, which is 50 about $50.
Yeah,
Now, when I was landscaping, I would have condos in the United States, and they would have HOA fees in the thousands of dollars, not thousands of pesos.
sure.
So this is a bargain, and they provide all the services, and it's money well spent.
Yeah. Now, in your privada, and I know that this is very dependent on, because somebody's wondering, like, and I know it depends very much on the landlord, the house, even maybe the brokerage that is handling the house, and the neighborhood. So, is it relatively easy to rent a long-term place that allows small dogs? Do you see many places in your privada that allow small animals?
My neighbor behind me has 7 dogs.
Wow,
So
in all
yes,
sizes.
yes, you. It's very easy to find rentals um, for pets. Um, they may charge a little bit more uh,
Hmm.
for pets, but normally small dogs they don't bother. Um, so rentals are extremely easy, um, especially long term. Most homeowners that do rent out their houses prefer long-term rentals, especially on this side of the highway. So because, uh, well, here in my Privada, we have 62 homes. Probably 30 are occupied all of the time, and the other 30 are either vacant or as rentals. Um,
Yeah, short term.
Short
rentals.
term, yes, and it's not just expats who rent their homes.
Totally.
Mexicans buy for speculation as well, and because these are middle class areas, and they do invest their money, and they do it into real estate, and many, many, many rent their homes out, and they are very well furnished. Believe me.
Yeah, no, I know. That's a misconception. And I also want to dispel that misconception. Not only foreigners live in gated communities, like there's plenty of Mexican families that choose gated communities that have, 24/7 security. And because I know I see that a lot. Like, why would you want to live in a gated community when you're like going to be just surrounded by other Americans or another other foreigners? And it's just not true. It might be true in some gated communities, but
Yes, there are some gated communities that are very heavily, foreign owners.
yeah.
But here we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have entrepreneurs, we have business people, and just plain people like you and me. My neighbor across the street, he's the captain at a restaurant, probably
The
one of the
main server.
better sushi restaurants
Yeah,
in Playa del Carmen.
yeah.
So. Uh, yeah, it's there. Everyone rents here, and like I
Which is
said,
also a good point, right? Like if somebody sees a rental they like, they should move on it pretty quickly because rentals do tend to move quickly in Mexico. Not only in Playa del Carmen. This is just generally good advice.
oh yes, definitely, especially when high season starts to come up, because I always see ads all the time because we have Facebook groups for this particular area and where my complex is, and there are always people looking for long term rentals, um, especially around Semana Santa
Hmm.
and in the months of July and August when Mexicans are on vacation. They all come to the Riviera Maya, so the place gets pretty happening, even around Christmas time because this is a fun place to be during the holidays.
For sure. Christmas towards New Year's, of course. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Great
There's
time to visit Playa.
10,000 people on the Fifth Avenue.
Yeah. Which somebody does have a comment about that they've heard that the further you get away from Fifth Avenue, the less expensive it is. And I mean, I obviously would agree with that, but you're just kind of reassuring that with, living more in the outskirts of the city will really give you much more house for your money.
Absolutely. And figure if you think about it, this is where most of the locals live who are middle class and, even in some neighborhoods that are, just above minimum wage here. So, I mean, there's a mix, and there are certain neighborhoods that are better than others, but most graduate or gravitate towards the gated communities, and there are some really good bargains out here for long term, even short term if you want.
Yeah, yeah. Even if you're just checking it out, not sure if Playa is right for you long term. Um, so, in your experience, now that you're so involved with the all the different types of meetups for foreigners and all kinds of different groups, what are some of the reasons that people end up leaving? Like, what are some deal breakers for some people?
Well, the biggest expense here that we have is electricity.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so, I mean, everyone says you can come to Mexico and you can live here much cheaper. Yes, you can, but you have to take that with a little grain of salt. In Playa, we are on the east coast of the Yucatan. There are not a lot of roads out here. There is one major highway that comes from Merida to Cancun, and another one in the south that comes from Escarcega all the way to the capital, Chetumal. So everything we have here is trucked in. So that tends to raise the prices of goods here. And of course, you have supply and demand. So as we get into high season, there's more demand. Uh, Naturally, the prices are going to go up. But real deal breakers, um, And I think I've told you this before. There's two kinds of expats that come to Mexico: those that plan to live here, and those that only stay here. Okay, if you come to live here, you're going to assimilate, you're going to learn the language, you're going to participate in the traditions and the customs that we have here. Those that tend to just stay here don't want to break the expat bubble. They want it to be more like home, and they want everyone to speak English, and they want everything as easy as it is back home. Now, you can go to a bank and open up a bank account like that. Okay. Here it takes a little bit longer.
Hmm.
Many people cannot deal with the bureaucracy and the time that it takes to get things done.
Yeah.
I would say that that's probably the biggest deal breaker of all of them.
It's a true culture shock. Like things move slower. It's not in your language. It's frustrating to not be able to communicate fluidly.
Mhm.
Um,
And sometimes you think you know what they're saying, but you didn't understand completely. And then the first time you go do something with this new credit card that you got, they said, no, you can't do that. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me? I said, well, we did tell you. You just didn't understand
sure.
that there
Yeah.
are limitations.
Yeah.
And the frustration level can be high. But in I'm going to joke with you and say a lot of my expat friends say to me, said, "Are you brain dead?" Because I don't let anything bother me. There are things
Oh,
in my
yeah.
control, and there are things that are not in my control. I
Yeah.
worry about the things that I can fix, and don't worry about the things that I can't. So, if I can't get a bank account opened in 2 days, so I wait a week. Eh,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good way, a good reminder for attitude means everything. And it'll really change your experience living not only in Mexico, in any foreign country where you don't dominate the
Absolutely. If
culture,
you're
you don't
impatient
language.
and you want everything right away, Mexico is not the place for you to
I
go.
agree. Yeah, I totally agree. You kind of have to, you have to take
Take
a
a deep
chill pill.
breath.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good, and if you are going through the residency visa process and you think that is super frustrating, it's a good introduction into Mexican bureaucracy. What you get though, and I want to reiterate this, what the positives that you get are, the people are awesome.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. I
I
have
think,
more Mexican local friends than I do expat friends. We go everywhere together, and excuse me, I like to invite them out. And Friday nights for me, I go to my neighbors across the street here, and we play Uno for 4 or 5 hours
I
with a
love it.
bottle of tequila on the table, and we have desserts, and uh, of course it's all in Spanish. But if you're comfortable in the language, and you're comfortable with your friends like that, and we can talk on any subject. And sometimes we disagree politically, um, not only on Mexican politics but on US politics as well. But it's all in a night's fun. And we leave at night with the two kisses on the cheek, and see
Yeah,
you tomorrow.
yeah. See you next weekend. Which, speaking of, like, how do you feel that foreigners are still welcome? Do you feel that there's been any sort of negativity? Like, what's your feeling right now?
I have not seen any of it. Uh, like I said, I live in a predominantly local neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're just as accepting of me today as they were when I moved here 6 years ago. I go into town. I don't see any animosity towards between locals and residents or expats. Uh, I think there's a lot of hype about it, and there's just a very very small faction and group of people that like to stir the pot. so to speak. And I think you've spoken about that before. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I would agree with that. And I actually, have spent more time in the city that has gotten the most heat for that,
mhm.
which is Mexico City. And I agree. I mean, I think it just depends. It's very like sensationalized in many ways because obviously, I think a lot of media likes to have things to write about that are controversial.
Absolutely. We have one neighborhood downtown. Um, it's an up and coming new neighborhood, Colosio. I'm sure you've heard of it. Okay, it goes Centro, Gonzalo Guerrero, and Colosio. Colosio has its good parts, and it also has its, local hood.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
that's as you go farther north. Um, but I mean, a lot of developers are building in Colosio now, so they're buying up properties. Um, but even locals that get bought out and now have a little bit of funds and pesos, they can upgrade. And they're going into other areas of Playa here. So it's not such a bad thing after all. Colosio's getting cleaned up. It's moving and advancing. They're working on the electric, they're working on the water. Uh, so, yes and no, but more positive than negative, I think. And it
Yeah.
just all these improvements just benefit everyone. So
Yeah, and I also think it depends on the person, right? If you are kind of like Jeff who, kind of let things roll off your back, you're not trying to change Mexico. You're going with the flow, you're embracing the culture for what it is. Um I think nobody likes to have their home criticized in their home. So, it's okay to get frustrated, but if you're constantly talking about all the negatives of living in this country, then people are going to start questioning why are you in this country?
I
So,
see it a lot because I'm very active in the expat groups here, and I read them every day. And
yeah.
uh, some posts just ooze with negativity, and you can tell that this person is just not happy being here
Yeah.
because you get to see the same names over and over and over,
Yeah.
and then patterns develop, and you say,
And
"Wow, they just so
they
negative about
hate
everything."
it. They hate it. They just hate to admit they hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
but when their
it's okay
friends
to realize
come,
it's not for you. Like it's okay. I think a lot of people, my husband and I were talking about this the other day, and I think maybe some people like have made the costly move and then they're gonna make it work no matter what. But
mhm.
that's why it's important for you to visit first and at least for a couple of weeks, if not longer. Obviously some people can't afford to just be like slow traveling throughout the country forever, but I think it's important to visit first so that way you at least have an idea of how life moves there. But
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
okay to admit that it's not for you too.
If you come in cold, you're going to have a little bit of a rude awakening. And
Yeah.
going back to what we touched on earlier, you asked me why some people leave. I do relocation tours for MRG. I have clients here that I have become very, very good friends with over the years that they've been here. They just went home. They gave up and went back to Los Angeles.
Mm,
Why? Because they missed their grandkids and they missed their family.
yeah.
Uh, they just wanted to be closer back to their family, even though they loved it here. Homesickness really took
A
over
real
for them,
thing.
and they just said, "No, we we have to go back." I was so sorry to see them go because they
Yeah.
were such a great couple. I used to take them to Cancun with me and shopping because they didn't have a car. Uh, so they came to my house for dinner so many times. Um, but I, it's not for everyone, and there are these little hidden things deep down inside that surface after a while and just say, "I miss my family." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, whenever I've ever surveyed people, like, why do people leave? I mean, that's got to be like top three. healthcare is another big one. Like, they had a medical condition that maybe they couldn't get insurance for in Mexico, and paying out of pocket became way too expensive to do. So they had to
Yeah,
move.
I think that really happens with the older expats
Mhm.
because insurance is very expensive. Once you hit a certain age,
Mhm.
like me, I'm 67. Um, I had to go to Eames because that's basically fit in my budget. $3,000 or $4,000 a year for an expat policy was just not in
Way
the
too expensive.
not in the cards for me.
For
And here
people
I
who don't know what Ames
am.
is, would you mind telling them what Ames is?
Eames is the national health care that we have here in Mexico. There's two forms of it now. There's the free version, and then there's the paid version. The free version is called Bienestar, I
Hmm.
believe,
Hmm.
and the paid version is called EAMS, IMSS, and those are the public and general hospitals. It runs more like Canada, sort of like a excuse me, national health care type of thing. Uh,
Yeah.
there are a little bit longer waits for things, but we have so many other options here: pharmacy doctors and regular general practitioners. Uh, my son was here last week, and he got sick. So
Oh
Saturday,
no.
yeah, James. So
Sorry,
Saturday
Jane.
morning, packed him up in the car. We went to the local pharmacy, met with the doctor, and uh, 30 minutes later, he was all fixed up. He had all his prescriptions, and they flew home the next day.
Yeah. And how much was that doctor visit without insurance?
It was donation based.
Okay.
I gave the doctor 200 pesos. uh, my son, of
About $12.
course.
Yeah, of course.
And then I think the prescriptions, he had like four. I just picked them up right next door. It was around $45, I think.
Yeah.
So I went
Yeah.
back to
Affordable.
I went back to the U.S. in September, and I used my Medicare, and I went to a Doc in the Box, and that cost me $100,
Yeah.
just to get in the door.
Like an
So
urgent care type of situation?
no, I caught bronchitis again, so uh, I just went for respiratory
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and
To get some antibiotics or
but then
something.
again, there was like $150 before I was finished, and with James, it was only just around 50-$60 total.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, of course, is without insurance. Now, most people, they don't use insurance for visiting a donation type of doctor like that in Mexico either. A lot of people, and I'm sure you do too, plan to use your IMSS only for a catastrophic situation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have a plan in place. I live alone. My neighbors know that if something was to happen to me, they know which ambulance service to call and they know which hospital to take me to. And I have a contact list. They know who to contact back in the United States so that we can get things moving if I need to go to private hospital here or I need to go back home to the US. It's really important to have these things put in place because if no one knows and you live alone,
Yeah.
anything could happen.
Yeah. Which is why it's so important to, when you first arrive and maybe you're alone, you're single, divorced, widowed, whatever the case might be, you're by yourself. Like, start
Mhm.
building that community as soon as you can.
That exactly right. Make friends. You'll meet other expats, and don't be shy about saying, I'll help you if you help me.
Yeah.
Because, living alone, you could fall, something could happen, and no one know for 2 or 3 days, and God only knows what could happen. But you check on me, I'll check on you, and if you once you have the building of a community together, um, you can share information, and you don't have to do it publicly. I mean,
Right.
my information is in an envelope.
Yeah.
Uh, Open this if something happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 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 Break in case of emergency. But I mean, it can go even like, before you're not sure who to trust with that information and stuff, just start even knowing like a doctor that you can call in case of an
Oh,
emergency.
absolutely.
What's
Mhm.
your local ambulance number? Um, you know, and yeah, of course, start making friends as soon as you can. That way, you start knowing who you can trust with this kind of sensitive information. How can people get involved? Like, I love sharing different types of charities that maybe people can start making these friendships in if they're not into the bar scene, or I mean, even the bar scene is great, but that can get, pretty
Yeah, it
old pretty
gets old.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
maybe,
mean, I used to hit
try
happy
local.
hour every Thursdays, but no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was in the honeymoon phase. Now reality set in, and I have
Yeah.
better
You can't
things
be
to do.
downing those margaritas every other
Well,
day.
now it's Mescalitas. So
Mezcalitas, yeah.
no, we have there is a very big expat community here, and they do advertise a lot of events in the Facebook groups. They have a trivia night, they have name that tune kind of thing, and it's all audience participation. Even if you don't know a group of people, you go and they'll match you up with other people, and you meet new people this way, and by the time the night ends, you're sharing phone numbers, and you've got a whole new group of friends that you didn't have before you went. Um, Charities, we have quite a few here. We have a Rotary Club. If you are part of the Rotary in the United States or whatever, you can join here. We
Yeah.
have for entrepreneurs, we have BNI, if that's what you like to do. Um, we have a really great organization here called KKIS, Keeping Kids in School.
Okay.
And a lot of expats are volunteers, and they help out in this particular organization. They go to schools, they volunteer. Maybe they teach English or whatever. When school starts, they go out and they collect backpacks and school supplies, and every kid that they can afford to, they give them a backpack that has all the things that they need to
Yeah.
start school.
That's awesome.
We have a bunch of women's groups here. There's one called Breath of Life, which is it's a local organization, and she is helping single mothers and displaced women with food, shelter, education, clothing, whatever they need. She helps them out, and then we also have the local DIF, which is departmental. You know better than me the acronyms.
It's to
um,
help all like the, underserving communities with things like, children, the elderly.
exactly. Yes, like more like a senior citizens type co- organization where you
Yeah.
can go and you can help volunteer there. But you, as well as I know, the biggest problem we have here in Mexico is stray dogs
Yeah.
and
Animals.
animals. So there are a lot of organizations here in Playa del Carmen that are looking for volunteers all the time to bathe the dogs, take them out for walks, play with them, and help them find good homes for
For
from
life. Yeah,
yeah,
for
life,
fostering
yeah,
or
a
for,
forever home, you know.
yeah. Yeah, so there's a variety of ways that people can get involved. There's book clubs too, salsa, dancing clubs. I mean, there's all kinds
Oh,
of things.
absolutely. And if you're civic minded, you can always get involved in your Privadas HOA,
Yeah.
homeowners association. Uh, it's
You
a
want to
good way.
practice your true legal Spanish?
Yeah, it's a good way to learn the legalese, um, and interact with your neighbors. I learned a lot. I did it for 4 years, and I'm now a SAT expert. I'm on the ley de hospedaje.
Yeah.
All these things that come up, the RPPC. I mean, many people don't understand any of these acronyms that I'm using, but once you live here, they will become part of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
RPPC, INM, SAT, FGE,
RFC, CURP. Yeah,
RSC,
there's so many.
CURP.
There's so many. I know that you have this like list of acronyms, like your alphabet soup that I don't know if you've published, but so helpful, by the way, whenever he does share it. So I'll ask him to see if he can share it with you all.
I think I have it somewhere. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
Um,
probably longer now.
oh, I'm sure every day you could add two or three things more. And some of those, by the way, you guys, you will never have to deal with. A lot of them you will. But once you deal with them once, like, once you have your RFC once, you don't really
Mhm.
have to worry about processing it again. Or, immigration, you're only going to visit a couple of times ever in your lifetime. Um, so I know that the kind of, hot question that a lot of people are wondering is Playa del Carmen still safe? And I know that it gets a lot of like, it's been in the news with some cartel wars and some recent like very targeted violent attacks towards some people. So how do you feel about that? And do people ask you about that? And how do you feel about that?
The only people that ask about it are new people that are coming to Playa for the first time.
Hmm.
They want to know if it's safe. Okay, if you're not into drugs and if you are not into stepping on the cartel's toes by opening up a business and uh,
Laundering their money or
laundering their money and selling drugs for them, you're safe.
hmm.
Okay. I have no problem walking anywhere here in Playa del Carmen, Centro, even here on the west side. I go out for walks at night. The biggest thing I'm afraid of are the tarantulas and stuff that are crawling across the road. But they always say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Uh, if you go look for trouble, you will find it. Okay, but what you read in the newspapers and here online is really sensationalized. Uh, if there is violence, yes, but it's cartel versus cartel. They're not interested in tourists because they know it affects the image, and the cartels make just as much money off of tourism than as local legitimate businesses. So uh, I believe that it is perfectly safe here. Like every city, there are certain sections that you should not go into.
Absolutely.
Okay, I mean, if you wanted to mention names, I would tell you, but I don't know of anybody that lives in these particular areas.
Yeah,
Uh,
you would know the minute you step foot in them. You'd be like,
yeah,
"Wow, we should
okay,
be living
this
here."
is what we're doing here because it
Yeah,
just doesn't look normal.
sure. Yeah. So yeah, in other words, you're perfectly safe if you're not involving yourself in. If your concern is cartel related, you're perfectly safe if you're not involved in cartel activity. Of course, there's still crime of opportunity. Of
Oh,
course, there's
absolutely.
still
There's
residential.
pickpockets, there are scams.
Sure,
You leave
the
your
occasional
pocketbook on the
residential
back of your
break-in.
chair, you're
Yeah,
going to get your phone or your wallet stolen. I
yeah.
will tell you this, in my community, I sleep with I'm a ground floor here, 2 stories, but my windows are not closed. I do not lock my door. My slider is open all night
You
long.
shouldn't be telling people that, Jeff.
But they don't know where I live. But
You're too nice.
um,
There's all kinds of sleuths out there. They can find out. No, but yeah,
but
you're trying to say that you don't feel a
yes,
threat.
okay. Our community is what they call double filter. Okay,
Hmm.
no one can come in without being invited. Okay, so if I want to have Mariana come visit me, I have to notify our security caseta. They have to notify the front gate, and you show your ID. You come in, and then you're checked again before you come in through our gates.
Yeah.
That's the type of I think what most expats are really looking for is the double filter type of security. Uh, we haven't had an incident here, knock on wood, in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So the security guards are doing their job. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you also, as president of the HOA, made sure that the residential funds went to them and got paid a fair salary. Yeah,
I raised their salaries a little bit.
of course you did. Yes, I'm sure they love you. They're like, make sure we take care of that house. um, so, any closing words for anybody who might be thinking of living in Playa del Carmen? Like, why might it be for them, and why might it not be for them?
Okay. Well, I think if you want to come to Playa del Carmen, um, we have great weather almost all year round. Um, don't be afraid of hurricanes. We've had many close calls in the last 4 years. Nothing, absolutely
Mhm.
nothing, not
Yeah,
even a near miss. Um,
thank
we
God.
have 6 months of heat, but then 6 months of great weather.
Yeah.
Playa is a melting pot of every region of Mexico. If you ask people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s where they're from, they will tell you from every other section of region of Mexico. The only people that are born here are Generation Z, the youngest.
Yeah.
So as far as food goes, nightlife, entertainment. Uh, the beaches, the cenotes, the attractions. We have it all here, and it's it's really it can be as crazy as you want it to be, and it can also be as tranquil and peaceful as you want it to be. It's all depending on your lifestyle and where you want to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have all the modern conveniences, great hospitals, great grocery
We have
stores.
9 hospitals here in Playa del Carmen, so you can take your pick, and they're all very good.
Yeah. Great infrastructure. The roads are constantly being repaired. I can feel like the money is actually being placed back into the community, the taxpayers' money. Um, Really, I mean, the Cancun airport is one of the busiest with routes throughout the entire world with direct and some connecting flights. So, definitely an hour and a half down the road, you have the Cancun airport. So if you want to visit family back home or have them visit you, it's not too far.
Oh, it's so easy to get to the airport now. I just might add that we change our government here every 5 years. Okay, you get a new municipality president, and they all have different views of how Playa should be.
Mhm.
Luckily, over the last 10 years, we've had two really, really good governments come in that have concentrated on improving the roads, improving the electric grid, improving the water system. We have bike paths now, um, better lighting. It's
It's improving, yeah.
they're working for the people,
Yeah.
and we haven't seen that in many years in a lot of these communities. But they're all realizing that Playa del Carmen just plays such an integral part in the whole infrastructure of Quintana Roo that they have to invest in it, and we're very happy that they are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm very happy that you came on tonight because I know this was long overdue.
Yeah,
And I
it's
know Playa
very
is one
needed.
of the most popular places to move to in Mexico. I'm sure you see a ton of newcomers all the time.
Yes, it's like musical chairs, you know.
Yeah. Some get up and some sit down.
Some sit down. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to thank you all at home for watching. If you're interested, if this is your very first live stream with Mexico Relocation Guide and you're just not sure, you know, what are the next steps for moving to Mexico, we made a free email series for you. So go and get that. It's completely free. If this is not your first time watching a live stream, thank you so much for joining us again. And Jeff, thank you so much for
Thank you
sharing.
for having me. It's always a pleasure, and we have to do it more often.
Yeah, we need to get your alphabet soup out, because I think that would be really helpful for people to know, like, what are all these acronyms? What do they mean? At what point will they like have to use them or know about them? And that way they can do a bit more research. And I agree, moving to Mexico doesn't have to be hard as long as you have a plan, you've done some research. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, and just it's just take it easy. It's an opportunity for you to shed some skin, reinvent yourself a little, let go of the
I
type
have
A
more hobbies
personality.
now than I did when I was in the U.S. It's like, you want to get on my social schedule? Let me know. I'm like 2 weeks out now.
Yeah, see, it's an opportunity for you to make new friends. Does the bureaucracy frustrate people? Yes, it frustrates all of us. But getting frustrated isn't gonna solve anything. So you might as well just,
Right into
embrace it.
it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it's a better word. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in my next live stream. It's next week. And yeah, wait to hear from Jeff and his alphabet soup. If you haven't joined the newsletter, that's where I share those kinds of little tips. So
Okay. Sounds
gracias,
good.
Jeff.
Bye bye.
Bye.